This is why it's important to change your motor oil. All this buildup and sludge and shell. Look at that. Hey YouTube, today we're going to show you the importance of changing your motor oil. We're working on a 97 Toyota 4Runner, and initially the job was to change the valve cover gaskets. However, when I took the valve cover gaskets off, look what I found. All this oil and corrosion on the motor as well as on the valve cover gasket. Now to give you an idea how bad this is, okay? See how we can, look at this. This is just horrible. This is just old, built up oil. This car, I don't think it has 200,000 miles on it, but this is, you know, one of the reasons why you don't want to use cheap motor oil, and also why you want to change that cheap motor oil out of your car if you have it, because it will build up. Back in the day when I was a kid, we won't say how long ago that was, but it was long before the thought of the internet. There was a particular oil that used to gum up real bad like this, and it would destroy engines and stuff. But that particular company has changed their formula, and I'm not going to say the name of it. The older people know what it is, but I don't want to have no problems from it. But anyway, as you can see, all this shell. This is just overcooked burnt oil. This is what happens when you do not change the oil in your car like you're supposed to. Okay? This is just absolutely, it's almost like your car is waiting to have its fatal heart attack. Because what will happen is this stuff will float around inside your engine, and eventually, just like I'm flaking it off with this, it's going to flake off, and then it's going to clog up the inside of your motor, your oil pump. Once your engine gets starved of oil, then of course you can pretty much guarantee it's over. It's going to lock up on you for lack of lubrication. But as you can see, even down in the actual engine itself, it's just nothing but gook buildup. Now, you got to remove this, but the other part about removing it is you don't necessarily want this to fall down into the motor, which you can't really help. So ideally, when removing this, you want to take a vacuum cleaner and start sucking this stuff out. Okay. Then after you get all this stuff sucked out, cleaned out, you want to take your oil pan, drop your oil pan, and you want to make sure you clean off the screen, the oil pickup screen, because that will have a bunch of gooky stuff on there. And like I said, as you can see, this stuff is, I mean, this stuff is nasty. This is old oil, varnish, gook that, I mean, if that gets on your oil screen, those little clogs, it'd be just like your heart having a heart attack, just like you having a clog in your artery. You have a clog in the oil pump, then it's not going to get lubrication. Like I said, this engine would be trashed. So, if you have one of these vehicles and you haven't been changing the oil on it like you should, pull off a valve cover gasket sometime, or pull off a valve cover and just take a look. I recommend this even if you're going to buy a car and you don't know anything about it. If you can get it to a shop somewhere and pull off that valve cover, it will give you a lot of insight about the inside of this motor. Before I took this thing apart, you look at it, you would think, oh wow, this thing is clean. Look how clean it is up under this engine. I mean, this engine compartment bay is. That looks really, really clean. So a person who's thinking about buying a car would probably be like, yeah, I'm going to get that car. It's nice and clean. But then once you pull this valve cover off, you see what you're buying. So, spend some time, spend a little money, pull off the valve cover, look at what you got going on under that. And if you have this type of buildup on there, then you need to start changing your oil a little more often. Get you a vacuum cleaner and chisel all that stuff off, and you'll get a lot more life out of your engine. Till next time, YouTube, hit me up if you have any questions or comments. Please post. Also subscribe. Thank you. Now, as you can see, there's a big difference with it being clean as opposed to the way it looked when it was dirty. Now you got all that oil. Now that we have all that oil and stuff cleaned up out of there, there's still some of it in there you can't really get to, but I've got some pretty heavy cleaner that'll dissolve that oil sludge away, and then we'll have to drop the oil pan to make sure everything gets out. But this is how it should look, or how you would rather your engine look as opposed to the example before.